Hey, welcome back to another Backyard Professor chess video. 2 in one day, man. I'm on a roll. I've been playing through some chess games today. Chess Life, December 2012. A gentleman covered the U.S. Masters Championship, and the whole theme of that championship was the attackers were winning, the defenders were losing. So there are some splendiferous games in that issue of Chess Life. I love that magazine, man. It's awesome. The champion was a gentleman that is named Georgi Margvelashvili. I apologize if I'm mispronouncing your name. I mean no disrespect, but I'm just going to call you the white players and the black. He didn't mention who your opponent was. This game is truly really fun to watch. Obviously, the champion has studied some really good chess. He's been studying chess for quite a while. Let's get going here. They had a lot of fun together in this game. They both really played exceptionally superb chess. I think the being able to see further into the game and find combinations goes to the champion playing white. He really did an outstanding job here. Fun to see how good chess is played. And of course, being the mere amateur rookie wannabe no good dunce at chess that I am, all I can do is give you some generalities because I don't have time at this point to do computer analysis. I don't have a real good chess computer program anyway, but I can see I'm going to have to get one. So in the meantime, what this does for us studying the Grandmaster games is to give us insights into how they play. One key to good chess is castling early when it's possible. That's always a good general rule of thumb. And sometimes we have seen disaster strike even with those who don't castle early, even up into the Grandmasters. Even Alexander Alekin got in trouble for that sometimes. So I mean, hey, we're all only human. Lots of pawn pushes in this game. C is going to take d4 here in an attempt to fight for the center, which is always a theme in Grandmaster chess. That almost doesn't even need to be said anymore, even though every now and then a Grandmaster or an intermediate, and mostly us beginners, blow the center, and we really shouldn't because it's really important to do so. Now, look. Seems like a lot of pawn moves at first, right? But they're not just random pawn moves. They have been doing a really good strategy so that we notice this pawn is fighting this square, this pawn is fighting this square and this square, this pawn is fighting for this square and this square, all the way across the middle section of that board. And the knight is hitting here and here. Same thing with the white. All the squares are being contested at least once, and then the bishop is hitting up into here. So yes, pawn moves, but they're not just random. It's really, it has a theme. And the pieces are going to come up to support those pawn moves. The development is fairly even and speedy. Black is trying to get equality here. d5, a direct assault on the center with the pawns. He begins, he doesn't slow down, he is moving forward. Apparently he does not want to lock the center with pawns, he wants to have it blown open. Black here does not exchange the pawn. He brings his pawn forward, giving a good outpost if he can get to it, although I don't think that pawn will last because we still have chances to get rid of that pawn. So the strategy hasn't been just to exchange and exchange and exchange. Now he's pushing the pawn to stop that exchanging. However, because he did that, white feels justified in going on an excursion. True, again, the center isn't locked, but it is cluttered, so it's going to be more difficult to have traffic through the center of the board, so it makes sense that traffic goes to the side, or to this side, either direction, from either player, right? So, yes, he's moving it, the knight, again, but look at what that does for him. It gets him attacked. Yes, but watch. That's not a disaster. Now he gets it on the very fine E4 center square. So yeah, he's moved his knight around, but it hasn't been willy-nilly. He is establishing a dominant center with his pieces. So again, good chess, you know. And again, black is also bringing in his pieces into this game. They're systematically manipulating the pawns to get as good a center as they can, and now they're bringing out the pieces. This is a good-looking game. It should be. It's for the championship, right? Another pawn thrust, F4, and another pawn push, A6, and what this does is it stops the knight from establishing an outpost coming onto the queen side, because look, we've got weak squares here, right? We've got well, it's not a weak square, but this is a direct hole. Having a pawn here could be a good place to put a knight. So we're too early in the game to see a lot of that just yet, but we'll get there. And then queen, again, he moved his king to H1. He decided now instead of later, because he's going to be amassing a roller coaster ride for us. And again, now we can see black has the option of castling either direction, meaning that he has brought out his minor pieces plus his queen, meaning he's got potential for putting together good combinations, either for defense or for offense. Yes, I know, I'm generalizing, but for us beginners and intermediates, this also helps build a foundation of knowledge for good chess. So far, I see good chess here. Truly. It seems to me like they're doing everything right. I know, I'm well aware, there's probably intricacies here that I can't see. Of course. That goes without saying. I'm showing you the general game, right? I don't have the electronic capability of showing you 15 variations and then quickly taking them back and going on with the game. There are some good chess websites that do that, though. If that's your style, oh man, I suggest going to them also. They are great to look at. I've been going there. I'm going to get some electronic chess material. That's good stuff to do. That's a great way to analyze chess games in depth. And E takes the F4. Notice what this does for white. White has moved his rook over, and now he has opened up the F file. That is why he pushed that extra pawn. He also has a file. It's not open yet, but he does have another central file. Makes sense, doesn't it? When you see how they play, it really does make sense. And now, because he took the pawn, now bishop takes the pawn, and the queen is across from the bishop. Yes, these pawns are locked, so the queen is not threatened. But just as a measure, perhaps for the future, it's not a bad idea to put your bishop across from a queen. Right? And now black castles queenside. So it's a little bit different game. White's immediate response is both reasonable and completely logical. He has done very well, as his opponent has, of putting in all the minor pieces. Now, let's get the rooks involved. Rook to C1. Again, not an open file, but the potential for opening it is gigantic. So, all pieces in the game. Very nice. The knight here takes e4, and the knight here returns the complement, and he takes e4. Look at that center of white. Now, it might look deceptive, but black is not being blown out of the center, I don't believe. There is plenty of central influence with, that's not really center influence, but it's along the periphery. The queen's coming straight down here and through the center there. We've got the bishop here. True, these pawns are locked, I understand that, but I'm talking influence. Both players appear to me to be playing quite good chess. Truly. Pressing another pawn. Very interesting to see how many pawn moves are being made. At this junction, he wants to chase off the central knight. Yes, that central knight, you've got 1, 2 pieces hitting that. So he's going to try to, he is more forward in the center, so it makes sense that he's going to attack the center, right? Watch what white does. This is really exquisite. Now, the only comment in the whole game comes after this next move. C5. He's ignoring the threat. Now, that doesn't mean, I'm not trying to indicate that Grandmasters always ignore the threats to their pieces. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying when a piece is threatened, usually I'm wigging out. I'm freaking out. I'm going, oh no, piece is threatened. Where can I move him to safety, right? Lasker, what was one of his great teachings? If you want to improve your tournament play, learn how to sit on your hands. Don't just make a move fast without looking carefully all over the board, right? This is the idea. He is going to, what he is doing, rather than always reacting to your opponent's threats, he is taking the initiative. Jeremy Silman calls that pushing your own agenda. White has a clear idea of what he wants to do, and it's not react all the time to black. The comment, the only comment of the whole game, he didn't do any analysis, he just gave us the game. So it might be fun for you guys that have your chess computers to put this in the chess computer and analyze it, to see what options happen. That might be kind of fun to see in the comments. He said, an awesome move! 2 exclamation points. So there it is. As we continue, we're going to see why as well. We don't quite know the mechanics of how. One thing we can see, the bishop has pinned this pawn to the queen. So black can't safely respond by taking this pawn here. He has to take the pawn from B. That is pulling the pawn forward, and it is also breaking up the queenside shield a little bit more. It's making it looser, I'll put it that way. Because now we have weak squares all over the place on the queen side because the pawns have been moving forward, shifting back and forth. So what white is doing is creating weaknesses. So obviously he wants to go to the queen side, right? Make sure I wrote this right so it's a C and not an E. The threatened knight comes over here and takes the pawn into a double, triple threatened position. What? Yeah, look at this guy go. He moved from here to here. He's got a rook. Remember when he made that rook C move? He's got a rook directly across from a queen in front of a king. It's always a good idea, if you can, put your rook across from a queen or a king. Great chess. Put your bishop across from a queen. You're starting to catch a glimmer here. The queen is not in a real secure position right now. It's getting more dangerous for this. Black responds, knight takes the knight. Yes. How does white respond? He has begun to attack. He becomes relentless. Once you push the attack, you go, man, go. Now I'm sure this gentleman really looked into the future. He tried many different variations to make sure he could retain, he could keep using the initiative. He's calling the shots. That's what the initiative is. He keeps right on going at him. Bam, attack that knight. B4. Interestingly, black did not respond to that threat. Black went G5 with a threat of his own against the bishop, who happens to be across from the queen. You see that? So black now has the knight threatened, the bishop threatened, sorry. Oh, and he's got his knight threatened. But he didn't just immediately move away. He produced a threat himself. They're really kind of kicking at each other. Rook. Bam. Takes the knight. Now, maybe for him it's routine. For me, that move would have taken great courage. Ooh, be still, mine heart. He took a knight that is protected because that queen is in front of that king. That's how powerful the rook can be on an open file, man. That is really wickedly interesting. Well, you're black, right? You're in against this kind of a position. Yes, take the rook. Really, truly, you have to take the rook. It's too strong. But unfortunately now, your queen is exposed. Isn't that an interesting situation? White is starting to tie black up in knots. Now, does he now take the queen? No. There's a better move. And you go, come on, dude. There can't be a better move than taking the queen. Yes, really. There is a better move. Bishop takes F5 check. Now look at the white bishops. That is a great queenside attack, isn't it? You go, holy Toledo, dude. So king has to bump back to B5, or to B8, I mean. You have to. And now, bishop takes C7. Check with a fork to the rook. I mean, this guy is really killing it, isn't he? Here, though, the king can take the bishop, so the king does take the bishop. Watch how white has systematically checked into this variation. He had to have, because he is so precise. It is just wonderful how he does this. Queen over to E1, hitting the open file, threatening the bishop. He's coming at him, right? And so the bishop says, well, no, I have to go to F6. But that wasn't the point of queen to E1. The point of queen to E1 was to get the queen to g3 check. Really interesting here. So now the king has to come to b6. So he's slowly forcing him out into the open. And from here, b takes c5. Check. You notice how systematically he is checking the king and bringing the king further out and further out and further out. And now queen comes up to c7, forking the rook, which is safe, and the king. And it was at this point that black resigned. He never did get that rook into the game, which is too bad. This gentleman got every one of his pieces into the game. You could see they held a pretty good fight for the center, but through the cross check with the long influence of the diagonals and the open files of the rooks, white prevailed. That is a wonderful game of chess. As far as I'm concerned, that is just pure delight to play. When I find games like this, I really get excited. I have about 10 of them I'm choosing from right now for my next few videos. I'm also looking into games that will give us some more detailed nuances into the game, like isolated pawns and 7th rank work and back rank checkmates, things like that. So anyway, there's your Backyard Professor video. Thanks for watching my videos. I hope you're having a magnificent day, because every one of you are awesome. Thank you to my critics for keeping me on my toes. Thank you for my friends for keeping me enthusiastic. I appreciate absolutely every one of you. You have a great day, and I will see you in the next Backyard Professor Chess video.